All right, and I think it's starting to stream now. So now we're in the internet, guys. That moment.
In the internet. I think this is the first time I've live streamed in any platform ever. It's so exciting.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
My debut to the internet.
Yeah. So now we're in the internet. You're in the internet for the first time, David. You're now a creator. So I'm gonna record it now. 3, 2, 1. Boom. And we're recording as well. And we're streaming live on YouTube. Two things at the same time. Crazy. And it's David's first time streaming on the internet. So welcome, David.
Hi, internet.
And it's our third episode in the series because we did the first episode. I did it with Ian, and we did the first one. It was
Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, the first Indiana Jones movie. Then the second one, Night of the Living Dead, classic zombie movie. And now, Ian, where are you going?
Ian, why are you?
He chose a bad time to leave. It's like the beginning of the podcast. Bye-bye. So
over the headphones, that's all.
And David, you weren't with us, but now you're with us, and that makes us stronger.
I hope so. We're only as strong as our weakest link, right? I don't know about that.
I don't know what that means, but in this case, but we have no weak links, so.
All right.
We have a bunch of strong links, 3 strong links, and we're going to talk about Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. So we actually have a pretty good track record so far because we have a very eclectic taste because the first movie was an adventure movie from the 80s, the second movie like an indie horror movie, and now this messed up romantic comedy, sci-fi, romantic drama. This movie, maybe that's the first thing I want to talk about. What's the genre of this movie? Because it's very interesting. How can we even classify it?
Romantic science fiction drama.
Did you look up Wikipedia, Ian? Because that's very close to how they classify it.
What do they say?
Science fiction romantic drama film.
Oh.
Whoa.
It's really long, but I mean it's a bunch of different genres really because it's science fiction, it's romance, it's drama. I guess it's not really romantic comedy that much, is it? It's more like a romantic drama.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't have like a comedy element so much as like a few like sensible chuckles to just like keep things fresh.
Oh, you know why I was thinking romantic comedy? Because it has Jim Carrey in it, and he's a comedy guy, and he's
he usually does
comedies. That's another thing that I want to talk. So second point, and you guys can bring up all the points that you want, but Jim Carrey, I haven't seen Jim Carrey a lot in serious roles. It's kind of weird to see him play a serious role. What do you guys think?
There's another one of his more well-known roles is The Truman Show, where he plays like this remarkably normal everyday guy who's very chipper, and his name is Truman, and he lives in like the suburban town that's basically just a modern utopia for the most part, like a slice of Americana. And
I've seen that movie. That's a great movie.
Oh yeah, he finds out that he's on a television show that's just being broadcast 24/7. Like that's the big thing.
That's another movie we gotta watch here because that's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jim Carrey does some really good stuff as a serious actor, but I also see him as Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and talking with his butt cheeks.
And definitely
coming out of a rhino.
Yeah.
And those are some of the best movies that I remember. The best and some of the earliest movies that I remember going to the theaters and watching as a kid, actually. You know,
Wow.
Jim Carrey.
That was one of
movie.
those like straight to DVD experiences for me, where I like watched it at a friend's house because my parents weren't quite willing to let me
Mm.
watch something like that.
Really?
Yeah, my
Yeah.
parents wouldn't let me
Raunchy?
watch The Simpsons or South Park, but I got to watch Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
So they were willing to let you go up to that point.
Yeah, we were the kids that like bent over and talked out of our butts at parties.
Who, you and
Our
your
parents
siblings?
were proud. Me and my sister, yeah.
That's cool. Um, I mean, I used to watch all of Jim Carrey's movies. Really, I mean, I love the guy. I loved Eddie Murphy and Jim Carrey. Those were the guys that I really like, the comedy guys. Ace Ventura, but there were a lot of other movies in the '90s. He was in everything. He was in Mask, The Mask, Liar
Oh, I saw
Liar.
The Mask. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
right. That was a really good one. There was a bunch of them in the '90s.
Yeah, I mean, he really hasn't done anything lately, but I suppose he doesn't need to.
And it's kind of weird because I actually watched an interview with him recently. And it was actually not an interview just with him. It was a round table. It's on YouTube. Everything's on YouTube these days. It was an interview with him and a bunch of other guys. I think they were mostly comedy guys. Like it was Sacha Baron Cohen was in it as well, and they were just talking about movies and life and being an actor and all that. And it was kind of weird because he looks very old now.
Mhm.
He looks a lot older, and when he talks in his normal persona, he's not Jim Carrey. He's like a lot more serious, like a more serious old dude now. So it's kind of a strange thing.
Do you think that that's just his stage persona, though?
Well, I think to some extent they change their character when they go on camera.
Oh, yeah, and he's known for his following, what do they call that? Method acting. He's known for his method acting. In fact, he has a reputation as being one of the most immersive method actors out there. There's like he tried to act out this one 80s, I don't know if it was an actor or a pop icon, and he ended up going into his like the producer's office and demanding more of some. He thought he was in character so much that he like flipped out on the set.
Yeah, that must have been an intense role. It might have been because there's one movie with him that one is a dramatic movie as well, and it's something like I don't remember the name of the movie. It's something about he plays a comedian, I think, a comedian that died or something like that.
Yeah, that's the one. That's what
That's the one,
yeah, I
right?
don't know the
I saw that
detail.
movie a long time ago, but I still remember that's a pretty serious movie. And I mean, he's actually a pretty good dramatic actor. I mean, he's good. He's very good, which is weird. It's kind of like Robin Williams. Robin Williams used to play some dramatic roles every once in a while, and I mean, he was like really good at it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely a very passionate actor.
Yeah, but he was just a ridiculous guy, when he was doing comedy. But then, so that's why I don't know how you can go from that register to actually being a fantastic dramatic actor. Like, I mean, Robin Williams even more so than Jim Carrey, I think. I mean, in Good Will Hunting, for example, that was like a tour de force performance by Robin Williams, which, it's this comedy guy. I mean, he has no business doing that. It's I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I
That's one.
definitely appreciate his ability to step outside of a role or like a typecasting.
And so that's the third point that I'm going to bring up, and then you guys can talk about some stuff. But I just need to talk about the fact that have you guys noticed the cast of this movie? Because if
Yeah, it's a stacked cast.
yeah, if people
Super
watch this, we hadn't seen this movie before. Just you, David, right?
Yeah.
And I was like really surprised, man, because it's like a Hall of Fame cast. Jim Carrey, and then Kate Winslet, then Kirsten Dunst, Mark Ruffalo, Elijah Wood.
Yeah.
Fuck, I guess.
Stacked.
So we're definitely using bad words in this podcast. Yeah, so it's a very stacked cast. Even though Mark Ruffalo at that point was probably not super famous, he looked very young compared to what he looks like today.
Yeah, I was surprised to see him in it. I was waiting for him to turn green.
It's weird to watch him in this role, and he's kind of like this nerdy guy, you know.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the same gravitas as he does these days, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're perceived to be the giant green man.
The giant green man. Well,
I bet he gets some respect in real life. I bet he walks into a store and people are like, "Oh, move out of the way, move out of the way." It's the big green man.
Everybody looks at him and they think Hulk, but also he's very good in a couple of other really good roles. Again, it's different because he's like the main character in Spotlight, which I think won the Oscar, if I'm not mistaken. That movie won the Oscar for best movie. He was the main character, and he was excellent in it. But he had a lot more gravitas than this nerdy guy in this movie.
Okay.
So yeah, and then you have Kate Winslet. She's very good looking.
As Clementine.
Growing up, she was one of my actress crushes.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, Kate Winslet is very good looking. And
is that a consequence of Titanic?
Yes, I never got over Titanic. I mean, she was very sexy. And then Kirsten Dunst, she was another.
Also wonderful.
Exactly, she was another one of my crushes. That one is from Spider-Man.
No.
Oh yeah, with Tobey Maguire.
With Tobey Maguire, yeah, in Spider-Man.
Yeah, I heard Tobey Maguire is an asshole.
Really? And remember that scene with the kiss that?
Oh yeah, he's hanging upside down.
Yeah, he's upside down.
Hang on.
That is like a teen crush scene. Yeah, like that. Yeah, perfect. Ian, you would have.
No. Okay, so you have to turn your head to the side. Bruno, turn your head to the side.
David,
we're gonna break the fourth wall on Zoom.
What are we doing? What do I have to do?
He wants a kiss.
What do I kiss?
This is
so weird.
Ian is Spider-Man.
Okay, so you're gonna be Kirsten Dunst and I'm gonna be Spider-Man. So you're Mary Jane and I'm Peter Parker.
I gave you a little kiss, you know. I'm not gonna give you tongue, you know. I give you a little kiss.
It's also gonna be raining. Can we get a Zoom filter for rain?
That movie, I heard that scene was actually, I don't know if it was Kirsten Dunst or Tobey Maguire that said that, but I saw an interview a long time ago, and they were saying, I don't remember which one, but they were saying that was a very bad scene to shoot because they had to kiss like so many times. So I bet that was her saying that because I bet he was happy about that. But because of all the rain, it was very hard because he kept getting like rain in his nose and all that.
Oh yeah, that would suck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You finally get to kiss the girl of your dreams. You get rain in your nose.
Yeah, but if you're kissing Kirsten Dunst repeatedly, I'm sure she was complaining about that, not so much. Yeah. Rain.
I don't know. That's a toss up. I think that would kind of suck.
I don't know, any scene you get to kiss Kirsten Dunst. If you're Tobey Maguire, I mean, if he wasn't an actor, Tobey Maguire would never get to kiss a girl like Kirsten Dunst. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Tobey Maguire is not the greatest dude in my opinion. I'm glad he's no longer Spider-Man.
I love him as Spider-Man, but he's kind of a weird choice for it.
Kind of a nerdy type, kind of doesn't, someone you could work with to muscle up a little bit, shoot the beginning of the movie, muscle up, shoot the rest. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, because Spider-Man is a cool guy usually. I mean, he's nerdy and everything, yeah, but he's like cool as well. So if you take like Andrew Garfield, for example, that's more a guy that I would imagine them casting as Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire is just not that cool, but I love him as Spider-Man. I thought he was great. And anyways, I guess people are expecting us, whoever watches this podcast, they're expecting us to talk about Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. What did you guys think of the movie?
It's a really great movie.
I was moved. I especially the scene where she's talking to the doctor and the Hulk leaves the room. I don't know why he left. I was like, why is he leaving? It's a plot movement. But when she starts quoting the poem by Alexander Pope,
Oh, yeah.
and you get the actual line from the poem, and you see Jim Carrey, and oh man, I've never been good with names. And she's like, I wanna be an elephant. And they're just laughing. And it's like the center of the idea of the poem and the movie was right there. It was gorgeous. I got goosebumps.
What was the poem? Do you remember?
Yeah, so the poem's about this woman who fell in love with I don't know enough detail. I'm gonna bullshit a little bit here.
That's
This
fine.
woman who falls in love with the Lord of the Land, and they eventually decide that she needs to become a nun, and he asks her to become a nun. So that line is her reflecting on like this relationship she used to have with this guy as she's writing him letters, right? So she can still write him letters. I should probably pull up the actual poem. Give me 1 minute.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fine.
do you guys remember that scene?
I remember the scene. I just don't remember. Do they read the poem? I don't quite remember that.
She quotes it. She's like, "Do you?" She
I
Yeah, when
remember
throws
she
the
out
quotes
the
it, I
poem,
Nietzsche
remember.
poem.
but
She
I don't
throws out the
remember the
Nietzsche
quote.
poem.
Yeah, but
Yeah, when the
yeah.
character Mary quotes it.
Mhm.
Okay, here's the poem: Eternal sunshine of the spotless mind. Each pray. Oh, you know what? That's the second line. You need the first line first.
Okay.
Give me another sec.
So that's where they got the title for the movie.
Yeah, it's the poem by the Alexander Pope.
Okay,
Written in
that
like
makes
1717 or something.
sense.
Yeah, it's pretty profound too. Do you guys remember the Nietzsche quote she gave? It was about forgetting. Like if you forget, you
Uh,
beat
I don't
your
I don't
fault.
remember I don't remember the quote, but yeah, it was really cool that she quoted Nietzsche. I mean, that was sort of like a kind of a cool thing to do before in movies, but like in the 90s and early 2000s, but um nah, it's still cool. Still cool. But I don't remember the quote.
There,
Nietzsche has, I mean, he's the most quotable philosopher though.
yeah, he's just basically writes books full of quotes,
Exactly.
one quote after another. Okay, so the context I already gave you. It's the nun. She's writing. So how happy is the blameless Vestal's lot? So a Vestal is a nun essentially, or a woman who's vowed celibacy. Um, the word forgetting the world forgetting by the world forgot, right? So I pictured like a boat just like in the dock rusting, right? Like eternal sunshine, and that line kind of ties in with what the Nietzsche quote. I'll pull that up too, but and we'll tie that together. This isn't a philosophy podcast, but you know me. Eternal sunshine of the spotless mind.
We
What do you
do
guys think a
we have
spotless mind is?
we have a philosophy club, just in case you guys are wondering, whoever's listening to this
I
someday.
mean, if you want to talk, sure.
But yeah,
I
I
would
think this
say,
could be a philosophy podcast as well, because that's what we're doing. I mean, knowing us, we basically philosophize about movies. Yeah.
Literature crosses into philosophy. I mean, this is why yeah, like, what do you guys think a spotless mind means? What do you like when you hear that term just in your own personal experiences? Don't even like think about what the writer meant. Like, what is a spotless mind? What is that?
I think
How does that
just like
I think it's just somebody who's never experienced hardship. Like everything has just been swimming.
that's one
Right?
way to
Like
look at it. And another way to look at
it's
it,
like what makes your mind spotted and tainted. It's, you know, ultimately sadness or emotions of anything more complex than sadness. So I would just see a spotless mind as something that's like vacantly happy.
Yeah.
also she talks,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's she, but someone's talking about it. I think it's the girl. I think she's talking about the baby at some point, look at babies, babies are so happy and innocent. And then grown-ups are so messy. They're full of baggage, sadness, and they're messed up. So I guess the baby would be the spotless mind. And that's funny because I was looking at Sophia, at the baby, as at my baby,
Yeah.
as I was watching the movie, and Sophia was sleeping, and she seemed very peaceful. And it's true. I mean, babies are kind of angry. They're very fussy, but I think that's because of other stuff.
I wouldn't call that anger. I would just call that the only way of communicating.
Yeah, yeah. They have trouble controlling their emotions as well. It's hard to
I guess I
think.
wouldn't even call it an emotion yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what babies think really,
Interesting.
but
I mean, how cognitive is an emotion?
they certainly don't have the baggage that we have. It's a blank slate. It's a blank slate, and they have a personality, I guess, that is still developing, but they don't have all the problems that we have accumulated throughout decades in our mind. So spotless, yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with it completely. Like his character at the beginning was nice. He was a nice guy, Like he didn't even have a better word than nice, to compliment someone with. And
Yeah.
that's a spotless mind, right? It's been vanilla his whole life.
You think his the spotless mind as well?
I think that's what his character was representing. You might even take it as an allegory. Like I know that a lot of writers make their character they pick an idea and their characters kind of fall within a spectrum of how much that idea has manifested in their life. So if you're like thinking about Jim Carrey's original character, he is the spotless mind. And the whole concept of the technology they were using of removing memories is the Nietzsche quote, and it is that ignorance is bliss concept, which I think is the kind of the theme of the movie. That's what I was kind of pulling away from it. The world forgotten, the world forgetting by the world forgotten, like this whole concept of like ignorance is bliss. Just do your own thing alone. Be vanilla, be boring. That's kind of that attitude. They also had lots of lines in the movie, especially at the end when they were listening to the recordings of themselves talk about how much they hated each other and the things they hated about each other. Um, she was always upset by how boring he was and how she hated just being around him because there was nothing exciting. And one of the things he liked about her was the fact that she broke the mold and she was always, doing something crazy. She wanted to break into someone's house the first night they met. This is no big deal. He's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh no." He's like, "Do you know the people that live there?" She's like, "Of course not. We're breaking in. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, it's the classic, the guy that is very simple, but he wants some excitement. And the girl that, she's all over the place, but she wants a little bit more stability and she wants a nice guy. We've seen that before in movies and after, but yeah, it's very well done. Very well done. And they have great chemistry as well.
Yeah, I mean, this movie definitely comes off as like uh very very much a movie that focuses on like the trope and the archetypes of the manic pixie dream girl who's spawned
Interesting.
after by the brooding young intellectual man who is otherwise like a blank slate, like you said.
So you would call that character the manic, like the archetype of the manic pixie dream girl?
I would say the character the character is meant to be a manic pixie dream girl that you realize later is a complex person, right? So I think this movie does a good job of critiquing the archetype.
What's that character exactly? Manic pixie dream girl.
So the manic pixie dream girl is it's a character archetype that is used throughout storytelling. So there are a couple of other like classic character archetypes, and it's mostly seen as young vapid women who are impulsive and garish and impossibly girlish and very great at being unabashedly happy for nobody's real reason other than like the depressed male protagonist.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that's the connotation, is that she's a servant of him. Okay, I've never heard that thing.
I guess I wouldn't say like a servant, but the character really only exists to help the male protagonist come out of their shell and meet all of their goals. You don't see a lot of like personal problems.
Yeah,
like they never seem to pursue their own happiness or like grow up. It helps. It's designed to cater to the male idea of just having somebody come along.
You guys want to hear the Nietzsche quote?
Yeah, lay it on me. Sorry.
Okay. Anytime you have a Nietzsche quote, I want to hear it, so you don't need to ask.
Be careful, Bruno. That's a dark hole to go down, my friend.
That's the rule for all subsequent podcasts of movies or philosophy.
Can I quote Kierkegaard or somebody else, or is it just Nietzsche?
Somebody else, it depends, but it's usually if it's a philosopher's quote, yeah, it's good. I mean, Kant can be quite boring, and Descartes. Right. Nietzsche is always entertaining.
So I have like this quote hits me hard because I am the most forgetful person on the planet. My mom even gave me a poem when I was 16 about forgetting. So, really? Like even as a kid, I have memory after memory of leaving something at the park or the baseball field. But as a result,
it's interesting that you remember forgetting.
You're thinking about the universe. You're thinking about the great questions of the universe. And
since I was 5, man. Since I was 5.
Yeah, and you forget your keys, man. It happens. It happens to me. I don't know if it's because I'm thinking about the great questions of the universe, but I do forget my keys. But in your case, it's definitely about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with me, but maybe it's ADHD.
You're a higher mind, man. Higher minds do not remember their keys.
Oh.
Like, do you expect Buddha to remember his car keys? No.
Yeah, hell no. That guy had people. He just jumped on someone's back.
He doesn't have a car in the first place. Yeah. So
I find things really quickly. My point was that like I am so good at finding things. When I almost like intentionally lose it so that I can find it faster. It's weird. All right. Blessed are the forgetful, for they get. Blessed are the forgetful, for they get the better even of their blunders.
That's profound, but we have to dig in because I'm not sure I got it. Say it again.
So, if you forget that you forgot, it doesn't matter. Like,
that's brilliant. Yeah. That's brilliant. Yeah.
Just forget that you forgot.
Which is exactly what the movie is about. For a while they forgot that they forgot. But they're not super blissful though.
There's a lot of loopy, like little references. They do a really good job of representing the ideas in small ways as well as in major plot line kind of ways.
And you're talking about quotes. Now that you're talking about quotes, I just remember something that I was thinking while I was watching the movie. and I was just and maybe I missed it, man, but I was just waiting for that quote to come up. The one, and I'm not sure I can quote this because I don't remember the exact words, but the Shakespeare quote, it's super famous. It's from actually I don't even remember the play, but it's one of his most famous quotes. It's better, exactly. It's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved. It's probably a little different, but you know, this is the concept, right? So it's better to love someone at one point and lose that person than to never get that opportunity to love someone in the first place. And that's, I don't think that quote came up, right? Because that's the whole point of the movie. And they're quoting Nietzsche and they're quoting Alexander. Wow. And I mean, that's kind of weird that they quote Shakespeare. It's just, I don't know, it's just kind of weird to me. But just maybe they thought it was too cliche.
Yeah, maybe.
But honestly, that's what the movie's about. You know, that's what the movie, and that's the central question of the movie. From my perspective, I'm sure this is a very well realized movie, and it's a very complex movie, and you know, it's a very cool movie. I mean, it's a very good movie. So I'm sure there are lots of things that people can take from the movie. But for me, the central question is, and I don't know what you guys think. I don't know what I think. It's a difficult one, and it's purely a romantic question, but it's a pretty powerful one. You know, do you prefer to have that opportunity to fall in love, but then things don't go so well, and you know you're heartbroken, which is a very familiar experience. Everyone has been, you know, through that, but I mean, is that not better than to not go through that in life? And I guess in a way you apply that to other aspects of life, right? It's not just romantic, you know. Do you is it better to live life with all its imperfections, to try great things and to fail at the end, or to just be in your little cocoon and be protected from abject failure? What is better?
I think ignorance is not bliss, right? I think it's very important to keep memories even if they don't turn out to be good ones, because
Matrix quote, that's going to be the next movie. Now the Matrix needs to be the next movie. So ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is not bliss.
And I definitely think that you shouldn't want to erase memories just because you are now having a bad experience, right? Like wanting to forget a person doesn't really, it's not good and it's not healthy. Wanting to forget somebody is dangerous because you're unliving your life in that point.
Well, going back to what I was saying, right? When what I meant was like what you're saying, you know, forgetting someone. When you forget someone is like you never experienced it, right? And it's like, it goes back to David's quote that, you know, they quote in the movie. If you don't know about it, I mean, it's like it never existed. But is that better, right? You think it's not, Ian? You think it's better to remember, to have that experience?
Oh, absolutely. And I think the title of the movie proves that. So Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. So it's saying having a spotless mind is like experiencing eternal sunshine, right? It's too much of a good thing. If you were to have just an environment where you're constantly living in sunshine, you're going to be miserable from it without, you know, nighttime, some storms. And I think that's the metaphor for having, you know, less than pleasant memories. You don't really learn anything other than the pleasant memories.
It's tempting though. It's tempting.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like you're not really experiencing life, because life isn't only happiness. Life is sadness and upset and heartbreak and disappointment and a lot of other things that make us feel sad.
It is, but people don't like that. They don't like to, we don't really like to experience those things, right?
Right, but I think we also
That's
see in the
what makes
movie
the
that
question
both
compelling.
characters are more unhappy, realizing they or not realizing even that they haven't experienced sadness, right? Because every time we see these characters crying individually, it seems like they're crying over. It seems like they're mourning the loss of a memory, right? And they can just feel themselves helpless. Um, I imagine it's what dementia would feel like.
Wow.
It's mind bending because really they're mourning something that they don't even know is there. So it's weird, you know, because they can feel that something's missing, but they don't even know what is missing.
Right, and I think it's interesting because it directly challenges that quote that Mary, Kristen Dunst's character, says at the beginning about, you know, how beauteous it must be to forget that you have forgotten, because we see these characters forget that they have forgotten,
And they
and
make the same mistake.
yeah, they make
Sorry,
well,
I took your punchline. Sorry.
I it's that they're miserable. But I guess I wouldn't say it's necessarily the same mistake. I feel like it's them experiencing regret, right? Because regret comes very much along. Like that's why you'd feel sad about forgetting something. You regret that you have forgotten it. And I think regret very much inspires action.
So just to further the question a little bit more, like the debate that we're having a little bit more. So another character in the movie that has that same internal debate is Kirsten Dunst's character, Mary, right? Is it
Yeah.
Mary? So Mary, she believes that what they're doing is very good for the world, you know, that they're giving people a great opportunity to move on. But then when it happens to her, she changes her mind. She realizes that it's not so good after all. And then she completely, you know, she does a 180, right? Oh no, what we're doing is wrong. We're doing a disservice to these people.
Yeah, it makes her a fantastic dynamic character that
Yeah.
you
Well,
don't necessarily expect.
she does a 180, you know, it's a complete turn.
I'm gonna be right back.
Oh, okay, you got to get your McDonald's. You're
Already
muted.
muted.
You're muted, but it's cool. All
My
right.
gourmet artisan cheeseburger.
All right, that's right. Sorry. Yeah, his David is gonna go get his gourmet take delivery burger.
All right, so this is where you put in the ad spot.
Yeah. Now we're gonna go. We're gonna go into our commercial break, guys. We'll be back 2 minutes.
All right.
No, I mean
Trying to
it's.
think if I want a hot cup of coffee.
You want to go get some coffee?
I'm thinking about it.
I can
Or
pause it.
tea.
I'll pause it. It's possible
Okay.
to pause, and then I'll resume it.
I can still hear you.
No, that's fine, but the video is paused. I mean, the recording is paused.
Hey, YouTube.
Howdy.
Did the internet just talk to me?
The internet's always talking to you.
All right, I'm making a little bit more coffee. Do you have your burger?
In my belly.
You're already?
One of them, yeah.
That was fast. Let me get my coffee. I need coffee.
Sorry for the pause. I thought you guys were gonna keep going. If I do this
it's all
again,
right.
I'll
Oh, it's fine.
It'll be more-
I need to stop for some num-nums.
It's a cool.
Num num.
Fine.
Bruno's gonna go get a cup of coffee.
A new cup. Yeah, cup of coffee. This will be part 2. This will be part 2 of the podcast.
Are you gonna crash after this? It's like 11:30.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna have some trouble sleeping, but
Well, if you need to, well, I'm gonna crash after this, so I can't really help you out.
it's
But
fine.
if I had some energy, I'd offer you a game of chess. We need to play another game.
I need to play, yeah. But yeah, I don't think I'll be capable of playing chess right now. Well, I'll be capable, but
With that caffeine in your bloodstream,
no, I don't know if I'm in the right state. I need to get back into chess.
Oh yeah.
I haven't played in a while.
I get that. Did you know there's a whole Twitch channel for chess?
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, you can go watch like grandmasters playing like anytime.
Nice.
So Ian, you know Bruno through the couch surfing meetup, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Have they been active at all?
Nope.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That is
Is couch surfing even a thing right now?
nope.
Yeah, that's what
I got ravaged by COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
They without telling any of the users, transitioned everything over to a paywall just overnight.
So suddenly you signed on and you had to pay $5 a month, or what happened?
No, it was like $60 for a 1-year subscription.
Oh,
For couch surfing?
Yeah.
No fucking way, really?
hmm
that's $5 a month.
It was more than $5 a month.
So you have to pay for couch surfing now?
You should check it out.
No way.
And you can't even go anywhere right now because of COVID.
No way. You have to pay for it?
Yeah, dude, that's what I've been saying.
It's $60 or your left eye.
That
Now,
is
so getting into the pirate market.
that is insane. So like anything that you want to do on couch surfing, now you have to pay a subscription?
hmm
That's crazy.
Capitalism. Yeah. Oh boy. Well, if we're gonna like dilly dally, I'm gonna get more food.
All right. So are you ready for part 2 of the podcast?
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna pour my tea.
I'm having coffee with coconut cream. How ridiculous is that?
The Chobani extra creamy oat milk is like the best substitute milk on the market.
Sorry, I missed that.
Where do you get it?
What is the best substitute?
It's the Chobani extra. I can just show you the product. It's extra creamy oat milk, and it's like the closest thing to whole milk I've ever tasted.
Oat
Still
milk.
not whole milk, but it's pretty good. And you can get it at Cub.
All right.
Nice.
I see. Holy crap. All right, are you guys ready for the second part of our podcast?
Ugh.
What do you think if we go until 12?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Like half an hour?
Dude, This one time I stayed up till midnight.
And what? What happened?
It's rhetoric. It's sarcasm. Sorry, my sense of humor, guys, is really dry.
No, it's good.
Hey, no worries.
I love your sense of humor. It's good, man.
I like it. I think I like it the most.
All right, are you ready, Bruno?
Yeah. Yeah, just give me 1 second. Because I'm putting this on Facebook now.
My second platform.
Second platform. All right. Yeah, let's resume. Resume second part. Welcome to the second part, because we had to go for a break, coffee break and cheeseburger break, but now we're back. And this is like, people are not even going to realize there was a break, because it's Zoom technology. You pause, you continue, and it's just
Now you're talking about the break.
Yeah, now I'm talking about the break. But it was a good break. Did you get your cheeseburger, David?
Yeah.
You're not eating. I don't see you eating. What happened to the cheeseburger?
Oh, well, I was really hungry, so I put it in my stomach.
You inhale this cheeseburger, man.
Dude, it's been like 10 minutes. It takes you like 10 minutes to make a cup of coffee.
I'm slow. I'm a slow creature. Did you have a milkshake?
No, I got the Fanta orange soda, which is what I get when it's too late for caffeine. Shame on you.
Do you know where Fanta comes from? Like
It's from Europe.
Like what originated Fanta?
China, Asia market, right?
No.
No.
What's
the story?
I know it comes from Europe.
It's kind of a funny story. So it comes from, man, I'm talking on the internet, because I usually say bullshit, like in real life, like everybody else. Sometimes you say things that are just not true. But if you're talking about something on the internet, people can call you bullshit. But okay, right. So I think this is true. So I think Fanta comes from fantastisch, which means fantastic in German. And really the thing is...
Oh, yeah, I remember now. Keep going, sorry.
This is what I heard. So maybe if you heard this, it's true, or maybe it's just an urban myth. But when the Nazis took over, they nationalized the Coca-Cola factories, but they didn't have...
and they started producing Fanta because they didn't have the ingredients for Coke.
They didn't have the ingredients anymore. They ran out of the ingredients.
I've heard this.
So they had to produce something, right? Because, okay, we have this factory, it's optimized to produce, drinks. what are we going to produce? And they came up with Fanta eventually. And that was a really good substitute for Coca-Cola in Germany. And I personally, I'm not going to say I like it better than Coca-Cola, but that's up there. So, the Americans, Coca-Cola realized, okay, this is actually pretty good. The Germans love it. Probably people love it all over the world. So let's do it. And we have Fanta still today, 2020.
In Prague, in the Czech
Brilliant.
Republic, they wanted a Coca-Cola, and they actually came up with something very similar. And they ended up importing coca beans. I forget what it's called, Kifa or something like that. It's pretty good. I tried it when I was there. It's a little sweeter. They put more sugar in or something.
Kefir?
No, that's kefir. That's the dairy product. What did I say before?
Coca?
Did you say the name? You said something.
It sounds kind of like cola, but it's been too long. Kofa? Yeah, Kofi or Kofa?
Yeah, I think that's what you said, yeah. No, soft drinks, there are soft drinks around the world that are pretty good. I mean, they're not good for you. None of those are good for you, but they taste pretty good. What can you say?
Kofola. It's 3 syllables.
Yeah, in Peru, they have Inca Cola. If you go to Peruvian / Ecuadorian or Colombian, maybe, I don't know. There are some in the Twin Cities. You can have Inca Cola, and that's kind of good.
Oh, Bruno, when the world opens up again, me and my friend I met in the Czech Republic are going to go to Portugal. That's our next trip.
Nice. I can give you some tips.
I'm going to be hitting you up.
Yeah, of course, man. In Portugal, there are some good soft drinks, but I'm guessing that's not what you're going to Portugal for. But
oh, that's exactly why I'm going.
But there are some good Portuguese-made soft drinks. In Brazil, in Brazil, there's a really good soft drink. It's called Guaraná. And it's made, there's a plant called Guaraná. So that's how they make the soft drink. And the soft drink is delicious. It's called Guaraná.
In American English, we call it Guarana, and they put it in all the energy drinks. Or is it not the same thing?
Honestly?
Yeah. It's like a big ingredient in energy drinks.
What do they call it?
Guarana. What's up?
What do they call it? Guarana?
Guarana. The way I mean, this is high schoolers trying to pronounce the word on the back of a can, but Guarana.
Yeah, I don't think that's how you pronounce it, but it's fine.
In America,
it's how you pronounce. But look, pepperoni actually means peppers in Italian, and for some reason in America it means spicy salami. I don't know. There's stuff like that. Yeah. Anyways. Going back to Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Man, after the break, it's going to be tough. What were we talking about? Now we're on Facebook. Now we got to say something interesting.
So
before we were just on Zoom.
Sign up for groups.
Zoom and YouTube.
Okay, so I guess
and Facebook.
So the thing with the movie and the Manic Pixie Dream Girl trope that really jumps out at me is I will say I think this movie does a really good job of presenting Clementine as that character and then showing you that she's not, or making you second guess why such a character would exist.
I got
she has that quote at the end where she says, too many guys think I'm a concept or I complete them. And talks about how she's she's just looking for her own peace of mind, I think is what she says.
She wants a kid, right?
Sorry, David, you were going to say something.
She wants a family.
Okay, one at a time.
Yeah. I was trying not to talk over David, but I ended up doing it anyways without saying anything interesting, so I apologize.
All right, I'm going to call on everybody in the class. David, go ahead.
Teacher, I forgot what I was going to say.
All right, so he forgot. So I was going to say, and maybe this will remind you of whatever you're going to say that you forgot, but I really like the fact, so this is what I like the most about the movie, other than all the stuff that we already discussed in part 2, but in part 1. But what I also really like about the movie is how flawed the two characters are. And I think that's probably why, a lot of people like the movie. but I really like that this is a messy relationship. Most relationships are not like movie relationships. I mean, most relationships are between flawed people who struggle to communicate. I think it's fair to say that this is a normal pattern for a relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's flawed people. I mean, a lot of people are flawed. You know, we're flawed. We have issues. Some people more than others, but people have issues. Like they say in the movie, like grown-ups, like the older you get, the more messed up you get. Because the more baggage there is, and the more confused you are. So people are flawed, and then when you put two people that are flawed in different ways together, they somehow need to find a way to communicate in a way that they make each other stronger instead of attacking each other. And they were having trouble with that. And I love like how, spoiler alert, but if you're watching this without watching the movie, go watch the movie first. But in the end, it's funny because they're like all over the movie. There are like these little choices that they have to make, or these big choices. The final choice of the movie is, okay, so clearly we're flawed people. Clearly we had trouble in the past. Clearly this did not work out because we're both bitching about each other in very mean ways, and we both like hate what the other person is saying about me. But there's something there, and we're still gonna give it a try. Maybe there is a way that we can communicate. Maybe there is a way that we can figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that scene at the end with the tape recorders definitely shows a lot of regret and remorse. It shows that both parties don't like what they're saying about their partner, and
True.
feel like they want to be able to change it. Right? They realize that that's what communication from themselves would sound like, and it's what it would sound like in an unhealthy way. And I think they kind of realized that those were things that they wanted to say, but that's not how they wanted to say them.
That's a great point, because when you're saying something, it's different. When you hear yourself saying something, then it's a different experience. You realize, okay, I'm being a moron here, because there's a degree of detachment, right? You're not like in your head when you hear yourself talking afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really ties in well to what the lesson of the movie is to be. And I think it makes me think back to the scene where Joel and Clementine are in bed, and she has his face on top of his, and she's saying that she would like more open communication in the relationship. And Joel just kind of shuts her out by saying, talking all the time is not the same as communicating. So I think you can start to see the relationship unfold. And as they see it unfold by combing over all of these memories, they start to see the error of their ways. And I think that's what really gives this movie the flavor of romance.
Do you guys think that there's one person for everybody?
I think there are multiple people for everybody.
There's one person for everybody?
Are we going back to Plato? Are we going to Plato all the way to Greece?
Oh, I don't know. I've never heard Plato's ideas on romance or love.
That one is, that's like a classic Plato idea, is the fact that, I'm pretty sure it's Plato. The idea that,
relationship.
Yeah, and the idea, basically simple idea, right? So the idea is that, but I might be messing this up somehow, but basically there are two halves. Initially, it's one person, and then it got split into two, and one side is the male and the other side is the female, and they have to find each other again, right? So that's kind of the Plato thing that I was mentioning.
Model.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, I agree with whoever said that there's multiple people for everyone. And I think that, on a really practical level, the movie's trying to communicate that every relationship is going to have imperfections. And there's gonna be something that irritates you about the person you're with. Guaranteed. You're people, right? We're humans. We're flawed creatures, and the fact that um
Oh, I think we lost David.
Lost you. Nope. I have you. I think we lost David.
We lost David, which is a shame because he was saying something interesting. I'm sure he'll rejoin, but let me just tell David real quick that we're still here. Actually, let's let me pause this just for a second, okay, Ian? So we
Sure.
can give a little bit of time. And I'm just gonna post it on the chat that we he can click on the same link to rejoin. I think it was probably an internet problem. But yeah, Ian, yeah, we can talk a little bit while he doesn't get back. Maybe someone's watching us on the YouTube stream. Probably not, but still.
Yeah, so I guess what are your thoughts on the movie?
I mean, like all this stuff that we've been talking about, but I really enjoyed I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was because it's a very layered movie. It's very it's
How do you feel
complex.
about the ethics of the movie?
The ethics in what
Yeah.
sense?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of like, what are the ethics and the morality of allowing people to forget memories and have people erased from their brain?
Yeah, I think that's something that the girl ponders, right? Mary ponders that at the end. Yeah, maybe it's not our place to do this, and that's a good point. That's a good question, Ian, to bring that up. Yeah, because that is another question that the movie poses. Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. I think. I mean, ultimately, I think it's okay because people are asking them to do that. You know, they're asking them, go into my brain, and do this for me. Get rid of this for me. So, you know, they're grown-ups. They're grown-ups, so they can decide. But then again, should we? I mean, the question is, I mean, can grown-ups really decide? You know, sometimes there are choices that maybe shouldn't be offered, like smoking, you know, or
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that
or cocaine, you know. Not working. He says it's not. Let me send him the link again. So, yeah.
has he got it?
He's saying not working, but I'm sending him. I'm sure it will work. He'll rejoin us soon enough, I'm sure. But yeah, what do you think? Do you think the you know, ethically, is it admissible or not?
No, definitely not. I think
Even if people decide that they want to do it, you still think it's not?
yeah, I think it's not something that is conducive to promoting health and well-being, and especially mental health. I don't think it promotes strong and healthy mental health coping mechanisms. Right, you can't just like delete your mistakes. You have to learn from them. You have to grow as a person, and that's ultimately what your mistakes help you do. And a lot of why you would want to forget someone is because of regret and mistakes, or just sadness. And there are coping mechanisms that we have that are not, blocking out memories or having them forcibly removed. You go through like the 5 stages of loss. And if that's an option to just take that shortcut, that's not really health, right? Like losing weight through diet and exercise is not the same as having liposuction. It doesn't
It's not.
teach you the skills to, manage your body. It doesn't teach you the skills of, healthy fitness and exercise, right? It's just like a shortcut to what you want to have when you're in a moment of not having it.
Let's see, David, you're back?
Yeah, sorry, my laptop died. I'm gonna be much more prepared next time.
Oh, it's cool, man. It's cool. This is a learning experience. Okay, I'm gonna resume the recording. David, finish what you're saying, and also Ian, because we did it. We had another quick break here because David has some technical difficulties. But Ian, in the break, Ian was asking me what, and that's a good point to talk afterwards after you're done saying what you're saying, David. That if it's ethical, like what do we think about from an ethical point of view, what they were doing, going into people's brains and deleting their memories and their mistakes, if that's ethical or not. So we can talk about that afterwards, but just finish what you're saying, David, because you got interrupted by the internet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I was trying to form a monologue around the idea that every relationship is flawed, and the fact that they were courageous enough to go back into it knowing that they were going to have like frustration with each other is, I think, the key to a successful relationship, and I think like that falls in line with what you were saying is the whole theme of the movie. Is it about having a partner, or is it about enjoying the person you're partnered with? Even if they're going to, they're 2 months down the road, you're going to be frustrated and irritated with them for hopefully a temporary amount of time. It's still worth the effort to get to know them and have fun and, be part of each other's lives, like the joy that they had.
Yeah, that actually really ties up really nicely, which is perfect with what Ian was asking, because essentially what you're saying, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's what I understood, that, those mistakes, even though they are, in a way, in a sense, mistakes, they still lead to growth, right? So they are something that is of value.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So that begs the question that Ian posed, is it ethical for them to go in and delete those experiences?
Well, I have that technology and I've used it on both of you multiple times.
It's like, did you get it from the guys at Men in Black, the Men in Black agency?
Yeah. I mean, I only have to look at you and wink twice, and it's on.
The pen, the magic pen.
Of course not, dude. Of course not. Like, we're already dealing with technologies where, I mean, in my opinion, well, I don't want to get contentious here, but in my opinion, Trump stole the first election by using that technology. He hired Cambridge Analytica. They used all of what we know about behavior modification. They targeted people with open type personalities. That's behavior modification,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's only. I mean, that's really only. What's the word you used?
It's social engineering.
You don't want to get. What was the word that you used, David? You didn't want to get what? Polemic or
political?
Oh, contentious.
Contentious, yeah. So, no, I don't think that's contentious unless you don't know the story. I mean, I don't know if, like, maybe the word stole the election is a little bit contentious, but there is absolutely no, like, that is like known information, it's known information that they engaged in behavior modification. And that's still going on today. That's still going.
Absolutely.
Have you guys seen that? I asked this in pretty much all the podcasts. in every conversation that I have these days because it was just such a fantastic documentary. The Social Dilemma on Netflix.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh man, it's so good. And I don't know if we can do it on this podcast because it's technically not a movie, but we make the rules, so we could probably do it. We could probably do documentaries as well. Fuck it. So it's really good. We should probably do an episode on that one because that's what
dude.
that documentary is about. Have you seen it, David?
Oh yeah.
Man, it's so good, and it just explains, I mean, our behavior is being modified. I mean, there's no doubt about that. It's being modified by social media, and it's been, this is happening with a degree of intention. Now it's very decentralized, but for example, when the Russians manipulate stuff, that comes with a degree of intention. That's just one example. But there are many. In fact, the Russians are not the main agent. The main agent by far are the companies, the corporations, because that's the whole point. They modify behaviors so we buy their shit, right? And it's advertising 2.0, 2.0. Because that's, what advertising was. They're trying to convince you to buy their shit, but now advertisement or advertising or marketing 2.0 is they can actually go into your behavior. They can understand you because they have all the data, and they can inform. They can then inform by whatever input you're getting. They can inform your behavior and change it slightly, even if it's just slightly. That's going to change, and that can, that can be done with the intent of making you buy something. That can be done with the intent of voting in a certain way. That can be done with the intent of going to certain rallies, or a number of things. But anyways, why did we start talking about this?
I don't know. I kind of lost you guys.
See, everyone is gonna just go back to 5 minutes, and they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah."
We're just like philosophizing away.
I think behavior modification came up.
Okay.
Or like something along those lines, and then I jumped over to politics for some reason.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
You were talking about stealing the election for some reason. What was it?
I never said those words. I never said those words. I don't want to
actually did
use those words right now. I said, okay, maybe I did say those words. All right.
Yeah.
Maybe I did. It is the internet. I'll probably eat that.
It's fine.
Yeah, he stole the first election is I think maybe what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that those marketing techniques are super unethical. Ethics. That's what we were talking about. Ethics.
Exactly. We got there. Yeah. So modifying people's behavior is unethical.
Even if it's subtle. I don't think oh yeah, okay, and we were talking about the technology in the movie.
Man, we got to do a podcast just about that. But yeah.
If you could find the memory, the cells of the brain that hold the memory, if you could find that, if that's even how it works, who knows? And target those, I don't know, man. The technology seems so far fetched.
So much. No, but I mean, technologies. Yeah, I mean, the technology in the movie in particular, maybe, but. I mean, my only thing is that the people are asking them to do it for them. They're going into this place and they're asking for that specific service. Erase my memories. So maybe they're grown-ups. They know what they're doing. So maybe that's what makes it ethical. I'm not sure.
Consent. Yeah, I think if you consent to your behavior modification, and that's what you want. I mean, that's what therapy is, right? It's a lot less impactful.
It's not a behavior modification. Therapy is a plan of action to, generally speaking, help you unstuck your life. Not to have things deleted from your memory, right? Even in cases of PTSD, they don't delete things from your brain. They give you, tools to accept it and like achieve acceptance that like that's no longer who you are, it's who you were.
Yeah, modifying your behavior.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess it's not directly modifying it, it's giving you the tools to choose to modify it yourself.
Sure.
Whereas I feel like Spotless Mind very intentionally makes the allegory that you are having someone else do that work for you.
Fair.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, and it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one because the consent thing is it's a broader question, really. I mean, because it opens up, the question. This is what's cool about this movie, that it asks a bunch of questions, but they also can be extrapolated to other contexts. But yeah, I mean, just because people consent to something, does that make it ethical? I don't know. Something like heroin, just because people want to buy heroin, that doesn't necessarily mean it's okay to sell it.
It is in Portland, Oregon.
I mean, I guess like
But
I wouldn't go so far as to equate
I think so.
memories with experiences.
Did you guys hear
Right,
that
like
they
heroin comes off me as a
I was just saying everything that people think that they want, but maybe they don't want. That's my general consideration. I don't know. You were gonna say, David?
They decriminalized heroin and crack and stuff in Portland.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Is that like something that they can do?
it's not, I mean, it is a it's not
Research.
legalized. It is decriminalized, which means that if you are found with like crack cocaine or heroin or opioids on your person, like in a classic drug bust, they don't treat you as a criminal. They don't prosecute you through the criminal system.
Yeah, I think that's actually the way to go. That's not the same as saying that it's okay for the whole heroin thing to, it's still not okay to sell heroin. But yeah, I do agree with that. And actually that has achieved great results in a number of countries. In Portugal, for example, Portugal had one of the biggest problems with drugs
Yeah, in 2001.
in the whole continent.
Right?
I mean, Portugal is one of the worst countries in terms of drugs. I mean, Portugal had a drug problem for, at least a decade.
Yeah, that was like in the early 2000s, right?
It was the 90s was pretty bad.
Okay. Well, they legalized it in 2001, I believe.
Yeah, and they decriminalized.
But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they decriminalized drugs, and that was a huge part of solving the problem. And today, Portugal is widely seen as a model in Europe for how you deal with drugs and how you take what is a really big problem. And basically, Portugal now it's one of the countries really that doesn't really have a lot of problems with drugs anymore. And so it went from being one of the worst by far to being one of the best by far. So with that change of mentality and change of like the direction of the law, so that has worked very well. It has also worked. I know that in Holland to some extent it has worked well. I know that in Uruguay it has worked really well as well. So the empirical data that we have of countries that have done that seems to indicate that that's a lot better of an approach than the whole, war on drugs, which, for example, in the United States, the whole war on drugs, I mean, has been
It was awful.
Since the 80s.
Congratulations to drugs for winning the war on drugs.
Exactly. The drugs the drugs have been winning the war on drugs for, starting in the 80s. So we're talking about 4 decades of the drugs winning, and it doesn't seem to get any better. So certainly that doesn't seem to be the right approach. But I mean, I guess this is completely unrelated to the movie, but now we're talking about life. We're just talking about life at this point.
Well, I feel
They
like we
did drugs
hit
in the
everything
movie.
about on the head. I feel like we've covered everything that we're going to cover, and I think we're coming up on our designated hour.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's true. It's true. You guys have given me your time, and I deeply appreciate you because of that. I am very thankful. Ian and David,
Yeah, anytime, man. This has been fun.
do you guys have
Getting
any
we're
other
getting views.
do you guys have any other thoughts that you need to put out there about the movie? It's a great movie.
Yeah, great movie. I would definitely recommend it. I think it's a movie that I could even rewatch a couple of times. They're just like, from a film perspective, it's still fantastic stuff.
I'm not a
Oh,
big
the
fan
video.
of romantic movies, but I think this is a great movie. I think this is very rewatchable as well.
Yeah. It's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all.
There you go. The words of the bard.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna call it. I gotta get up bright and early tomorrow.
Okay, that sounds good. And let's end it. It's a good time to end. It's 12:02. So
Night, night.
good night, guys. This was some great stuff here. Great stuff.
Absolutely. Nighty night, lads.